propose and then speak to your motion as printed on page 137.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My motion this evening states that Thurrock Council supports the government's position on introducing a note of British values, and we'll look into the options for creating one in Thurrock. Sorry, I always forget you've got to start now. Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you to all. I'm very proud this evening to be presenting my first motion, as well as actually doing my first speech as well. My motion this evening is seeking to achieve two things. Firstly, for us to back the government's desire to see an oath to British values be introduced across those in the public service, and secondly, to see this introduced into Thurrock Council in some capacity. The announcement of this actually came out on the 18th of December back in last year, when Savage Abbott announced his desire to see a British oath of values introduced into those in public service. The oath would be accepting basic values we in Britain have: democracy, liberty and a constitutional monarchy. Values many of us may take for granted, values for many across the world do not exist. It is about taking a positive step forward, playing a positive role in the community and leading by example. I'd like to use a comment actually which Councillor Head mentioned earlier this evening about us being community leaders. I think this is a really good way of proposing and doing that. It is not a one-size-fits-all model. It is not an exclusive list. Many of you, probably all of you, have got your own kind of ideas what British values may well be, but I do believe there are some common elements which are underpinning to this. Those would be tolerating views, believing in freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom from abuse, respecting the law, and a belief in the democratic process. The overall aim I'm seeking is about those in elected public service in this council taking oath, which is leading to our residents we stand for as British residents. Now with this, I would like to see Thurrock Council take a lead in this in some form and introduce this into some form. As already mentioned, this isn't a one-size-fits-all model. Obviously, we go and discuss it. I personally believe there are some common elements within this which we should have. MPs actually do have something very similar, people aren't aware. When an MP gets sworn in, they have the oath of allegiance to the reigning monarch, which they have at the start of, obviously, the cycle or by-election. I do believe that the Thurrock Council version should contain a little bit more substance, and that is the overall aim which the government is seeking. As I already said, I believe if we are to swear ourselves in as oaths, there should be some underpinning views, tolerating views, believing in freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of abuse, freedom of respecting the law, believing in a democratic process, and also swearing an allegiance to our monarchy and to the Constitution. Those are things I'm proud to be being British. I personally believe this is showing to our residents we represent our commitment to the law and what being British stands for. I know some of you may believe, what is the point? I'm asking you tonight to support this and see that there is a step forward. I also do believe that it is important not just to have an oath, but we should have the ability to have affirmation as well for those who do not feel comfortable in taking an oath. Lead by example, take the initiative. Every journey starts with a step, and tonight we can take that step. I thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Councillor. Is that motion seconded? Thank you, Councillor. Would you like to speak now? Because you probably won't get a time to speak. Reserve your right.
Do you want me to speak now?
Yeah, okay, I'll be quick.
What I'd really like to do is start by having a closer look at ourselves really as elected members and officers and the values that we believe in already and work to. I mean, we definitely respect the law. None of us here are in prison yet anyway. We're tolerating each other, even when we don't agree with what the other's saying. So we do that every time we come into the chamber. Freedom of speech and democracy, where we wouldn't actively do a resident survey and ask for their opinion and to help us work out how we're going to manage the council. Obviously we believe in that as well. Freedom to choose your religion and the way you worship or don't. Equality for all, that bigotry, racism and any form of inequality...
Councillor, sorry to cut you short. It's now 9:30 and we have to take a vote on that motion without further ado.
One more paragraph or not?
No, sorry. 4 marks for trying, no. Right, we have a motion on page 137. We need to take a vote on that, so all those in favour of the motion, please raise your hands. Thank you. All those against the motion, please raise your hands. Are there any abstentions? Thank you. The motion is carried.